And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by. Let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by. Water flowing under.
And we're letting the days go by once again. You found yourself stumbling upon Butch Maxwell's Complete Waste of Airtime for Wednesday, July 28th. I'm here along with Lola Miller. Hi, Lola. How you doing today?
I am well. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, too. Got a lot going today. I want to talk about the new CDC mask guidelines, also the congressional hearings on the January 6th insurrection. Start got underway yesterday. We'll talk briefly about that. Walmart has a new initiative to pay college tuition. And also we'll do, as usual, I'll do a preview of local entertainment over the coming week. All of that in the first half hour of this exciting hour. In the second half hour, I've got Ogilvy Institute's Director of Performing Arts, Tim Thompson, who will join the conversation in person right here in the studio. He's going to be talking about the upcoming play to be presented at Towngate Theater, as well as some other upcoming events all over Ogilvy Institute, including Towngate's fall season, which is going to be announced very shortly. And of course, your calls are always welcome at 304-214-1600. Some of my very good friends have been calling in over the past few weeks, and I always appreciate that. So yeah, the first topic I did want to talk about today is the new CDC updates on wearing masks. You know, just when we thought we were done wearing masks, then they've come back and suggested that, well, maybe not so much. I mean, you can almost hear a collective groan of frustration around the country when the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention again updated its guidance. This time encouraging more Americans and all school kids and teachers to wear face masks to stop the spread of COVID-19. So why, you may ask, can't they make up their mind? I mean, they just a while ago, they told us that we don't have to wear masks anymore. Now we've got to wear masks. Well, yeah, it has been a lot of back and forth. What happened was, of course, the country missed President Biden's goal of vaccinating 70% of all adults with at least one dose by the 4th of July. It's come down to closer to around 49-50%. Now, of course, on top of all that, the Delta variant has been spreading, and it looks like that is what is really causing us to have to mask back up again. The reason is that this Delta variant, this Delta variation of the virus may be transmittable even to people who have had the vaccination, may be able to pick up and transmit it to other people. That's the thought. There has been some evidence to this. Even though, and some people can actually get the Delta variant, even though they've been fully vaccinated. Why? Why, you may ask, if this vaccine is so good, why do people still get it? Well, it is so good. They've always said it's about 95% effective. That means 5% will get through. So we'll get, to some degree, that illness. What they think is that the vaccination will cause if you do get sick from it, it'll cause your illness to be much less drastic. You probably won't need to be hospitalized. You'll probably get over it without any long-term effects. But here's the continuing concern is we've got one variant. We've had several variants, in fact. The Delta variant is just the one. There was one that was called the South Africa variant earlier. There was a British one. What happens with viruses is they mutate over time. The Delta variant is one. And they can become more infectious. And the Delta variant is apparently more infectious. It's not necessarily more deadly, but it's easier to get. And that's what viruses will do. They will mutate, and they'll either be easier to transmit. That's what happens. That's evolution. When organisms evolve, they evolve to survive better. And the Delta variant is one way in which this virus, which is a living organism, has evolved to be able to be more effective for itself, not for people, but for itself. So what could happen, though, is that as we continue to pass along versions of the coronavirus, it might get some variation that will get right past all of our abilities to fight it off. Again, I'm just going to come back to this recurring theme that I've been saying since I've been on this radio station, is at least since there has been the opportunity to get a vaccination, folks. And if you've already done it, ask people around you, have they been vaccinated? Why not? Strongly suggest to them that it is their civic duty to get vaccinated so that they're less likely to transmit the virus to other people. It's not just for their own protection, it's for others too. So that's what's going on. Of course, the difficulty with the changing recommendations from the CDC is that people who tend to doubt the government and doubt bureaucracies, they're going to say, well, see, they don't know what they're doing. Because at first they told us to not wear masks, which is true. In March of 2020, we were told don't wear masks because we might deplete the scarce supplies for frontline people who need them. So it was never said that no one needs masks. What they said was they don't want the people in public going out and rushing out to buy masks because people that are in healthcare needed them. But that changed by April of last year. The recommendation was for people to wear cloth face coverings. They were, in fact, I remember that, Lola. They were not calling them masks at the time because they didn't want to. They said face coverings because they wanted to keep the word masks for N95 masks, etc. Then everybody should wear a mask in public settings. That was the CDC's guideline in July of 2020. And then, more recently, in April of 2021, they came out with it's okay for the vaccinated to not wear a mask outside. And then in May of this year, the vaccinated people can take their mask off indoors and outdoors, except in certain circumstances. And then even earlier in this month, in July, the recommendation was only unvaccinated students need to wear masks in school. Now, in areas where there's high transmission rates, the CDC is now encouraging local authorities to require masks once again. And some of them have. In Los Angeles, and St. Louis, and Chicago, they've already reenacted mask guidelines and requirements. At least 9 states, tell you what, they have enacted a legislation that prohibits districts from requiring masks in school. So this is the list of 9 states that are on the wall of shame for not allowing their local people to decide whether or not masks should be worn in their local schools. The state has decided that you can't do that in your own local schools. So here is the list of 9 shameful states: Arkansas, Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, and Vermont. Interestingly enough, all 9 of these states have Republican governors.
Doesn't Vermont have a really high vaccination rate?
They do have very high, but yet they've also got a high transmission rate right now too, and they are And they've enacted legislation that prohibits any local district from requiring masks in schools. Florida and Texas have specifically, in fact, the governors have specifically banned mask mandates in schools too. Nobody likes wearing masks in schools. I know. I teach speech in a university, and it's no fun having to have a mask on while you're delivering a speech or listening to a speech, for that matter, or anything, or in any learning situation. But it's, I think it beats getting really sick, and it's also been, an ongoing challenge. I know, again, as an educator, as someone who's responsible for educating students, the absenteeism over this past year has been ridiculous. And a lot of it is not just that students aren't just playing hooky or anything or any more than usual, but they're quarantined a lot because they've been exposed to somebody. They may not even test positive, but they've been exposed to somebody who had the coronavirus. Therefore, they had to be quarantined. So therefore, they couldn't go to a class if they wanted to. So if we would just lock down, put on masks, do what's necessary, and be flexible enough to follow the guidelines. And yes, I guess we have to trust our leaders on this. And yes, I know very often our leaders let us down and prove themselves untrustworthy. But right now, this is the best information we have. So I would encourage people to take measures. All right, really quickly, I wanted to talk about my very good friend Liz Cheney. She is one of just two Republicans who have stayed on the select committee in the House who are investigating the January 6th insurrection. She has she said that the trouble with the GOP right now is continuing to demonstrate that they view this whole thing as some sort of a political game. It's not a game. It's deadly serious when you're taking action to divert attention away, to distract people from an investigation like an insurrection to our government. Cheney blames Trump. She said he lit the flame for what happened. We've seen that not just in the speech on the ellipse, but throughout. What this committee needs is to understand is exactly what details of the planning were and the finances were. But for anybody to be suggesting that somehow Trump, wasn't responsible, I think it's shameful. This from a very conservative Republican. We'll see how that goes. Also in politics, what's going on now, I think one thing that's interesting is kind of breaking news, is that it looks as though, at least on the Senate side, the Republicans have worked out a deal with the Democrats and they're ready to advance an infrastructure measure. Now, we don't know the amount of it or the restrictions or exactly what's going on, but it's in the billions of dollars. It's a huge spending bill, and it will at least address things like road repair, bridges, airports, et cetera, things like that. So again, we don't know the specifics of it, but I'm a little surprised at this. I don't know. Are you surprised at this news, Lola? That they seem to have maybe brokered a deal?
No, I think they've been really, every week it seemed like they were getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And
I just had no faith, though, I guess, But
well, it's it's a little hard to put your faith in it, but
yeah.
and it's not by any stretch of the imagination a done deal.
Right.
It's not ready to be signed.
No.
And what if the two extreme wings of both parties have anything to say about it, it's gonna remain an ugly, ugly topic. And when it hits the House again, they're not going to be happy with it.
No, that's what concerns me. Yeah.
So, but really, it is so ridiculous. This administration needs a win, and to not push for this smaller package that includes what I consider to be truly, real infrastructure, traditional infrastructure that this country desperately needs, and we need the jobs that it will provide. Get that through. Then you can fuss over here about your environmental things and, you know, um, elder care and
Yeah.
which I'm so glad you brought up elder care.
Yeah.
I do not begrudge any family from getting the tax breaks as a cash payment between now and December. I simply don't. I have, too many family members and friends that have small kids. They need this. But you know what? I'm old. And it seems to me that my generation and the generation before me have been paying the tab, picking up the tab for bad government and everything else for many, 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 many years.
Yeah.
And we can't get the smallest raise to Social Security. You might get a raise, but what they do then is they raise Medicare, which takes away your raise. It's just ludicrous. They should be able to give us a raise too.
Yeah.
I mean, we deserve this. I mean, they want to talk about raising people out of poverty. How many elderly people are having to work in their 70s, in their 80s to supplement Social Security?
Yeah.
And, to not give all of us a raise and, relieve some of the poverty there. They want to talk about elder care. Well, start by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start by, I'm honest, it just
Yeah, I can tell.
frosts
It's a
me.
little
It
bit-
really does. I mean, I don't begrudge families from getting that money. But you know what? There are other people in this country that are living in poverty too.
Yes, there are.
And it's sad when you see elderly people having to only do half of their prescription
Yeah.
because they can't afford it. Or, it's a choice between paying a bill and buying healthier choices to eat. It's not right.
Yeah.
He ought to know that. He's old.
Yes, he
He's
does.
getting Social Security.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure he's getting Social Security, but he could. He's of the age too. So yeah.
Well, he's paying his Medicare.
True,
I mean,
yeah.
you don't have a choice on that. That bill comes every 3 months.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to cover here too is that Walmart, who's not one of my favorite companies ever, but they are gearing up to pay full college tuition and book costs for at some schools for U.S. workers as its latest effort to bring to hire people. They're having trouble hiring people. A lot of companies are having this difficulty, and Walmart is planning to do that. So they're going to give tuition help. Now, not to any school. They've only got a list of 10 schools, most of which I've not heard of. The University of Arizona, I've heard of that. University of Denver is another. And Southern New Hampshire University, which is doing a lot of online work. But they've got a list of 10 schools that they'll let you go to. They're still paying you $11 an hour in most areas. Where if you are at some places $13 an hour. At Amazon and Target both pay $15 an hour, but they don't give you tuition help. So I don't know. I'm all in favor of the tuition help, but I think pay people a livable wage too, just as Lola was saying a moment ago. Real quickly here before we go to our mid-break. In the next half hour, I'm going to be talking to Tim Thompson, who is in charge of all things performance at Ogilvy Institute, including Towngate Theater. We'll be talking with him about all that kind of stuff right after the break. But I did want to do a little update here on some of the entertainment things that you may want to consider doing over the next week or so here in the Ohio Valley. Lots of stuff happening. Tonight, You in the mood for a little Rat Pack stuff? Well, there's Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra impersonators are going to be taking the stage at the Toronto Gazebo. Yes, that's Toronto. It's a little hike up north, but it takes place tonight, 7 o'clock. Want to see Dean and Frank, not the real guys, but impersonators. That's going on. It's free, 7 o'clock tonight, Toronto Gazebo. The Sarah Hayes Band will be playing tomorrow night, 6:30 at Chaps Bar and Grill out in Belmont, Ohio. Sarah Hayes. Jim Bursey will be playing at the Warwin Township Park, which is the Tiltonsville Gazebo, and that's tomorrow night, Thursday, and that is at 7 o'clock. My very good friends Horde and Jones will be playing tonight at Heritage Port, so that's for the Waterfront Wednesday series. Always a good time there. Horde and Jones, 7 p.m. tonight, Heritage Park. Also tonight, or tomorrow night, is the Marcells. They're going to be playing at the Fort Steuben Berkman Amphitheater, right up there in Steubenville. So 7 p.m. tomorrow night, the Marcells, doo-wop stuff. Yeah. This weekend is the Wine Festival. Goes from 11 to 7 on Saturday at Heritage Port. So I know Olivia and Sonia probably talked about that in the last half hour, but it's good to reinforce that a little bit. The Muddle, my very good friends, the Muddle, I should say that. That's what we call them here, right, Lola? My very good friends, the Muddle. My very good friends, the Muddle, will be playing at the Wheeling Wine Festival at 6 o'clock on Friday. Also, the 40 Plus Band will be playing at the Weirton Event Center at 7 o'clock Friday. That's also a free event, 40 Plus Band. My very good friends, the Muddle, will be playing at Riverside Restaurant in Powhatan Point on Saturday at 7 o'clock. Almost missed this. Dan Welsh will be playing at 8 o'clock Friday at Le Chateau Pierre in Smithfield, Ohio. Lola's and my very good friends, New Age Adinas, will be playing at 7 p.m. in the Saturday at the Lakeview Patio at Wilson Lodge, Ogilvie Park. So, yeah, that's always a good time, New Age Adinas. Michael Cleveland, who plays bluegrass music, will be appearing at 7 o'clock at the Amphitheater at Ogilvie on Sunday, 7 o'clock. Michael Cleveland. And this coming Tuesday, the big event, the M80s at Warwood's Garden Park.
My very good friend.
Your very good friend.
Yes.
Well, yes, Lola's very good friends, the M80s at Warwood's Garden Park. That will be on Tuesday, and that starts at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be up there and having a really good time. Also, just not this week, but coming up, just so you can go ahead and mark your calendar, maybe go ahead and make reservations. Mystery Theater is doing How the West Was Dumb at River City on Thursday, August 12th. That sounds like a long time away, but it's not really. August is almost over, folks. So that's like the second week in August.
July is almost over.
Yeah, July is almost over. Thank you.
Don't
August.
push it.
Don't push August. Although last night, you got what is it? The cicadas and the crickets. They sort of surge.
Yes,
in the
yes, they
late
are.
summer. It's like
That always means summer's almost done.
Yeah.
And it seems like they start out earlier every year.
I know. It just gets bad. Well, anyway, Mystery Theater, Thursday, the 12th of August, and Friday, the 13th of August, will be at the View. So, Mystery Theater, How the West Was Dumb. Lots of fun, good stuff. Stick around. After the break, I'm going to be talking to my very good friend Tim Thompson about what's going on at Ogilvie Institute. You're listening to Butch Maxwell's Complete Waste of Airtime right here on the Watchdog Networks.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. This is the last week in operation for Viatris in Morgantown, still known to many locals as the Mylan Pharmaceuticals plant. The company closing down for good, and 1,400 are going to lose their jobs. WVU's Bureau of Business and Economic Research Director John Deskin says this is going to be a blow.
We already had plenty of challenges to begin with. We already had plenty of things that we needed to do to improve our economic prosperity. So, this is a step in the wrong direction.
The company was formed by Mike Pushkar and Don Panos in 1961. Pushkar left the company in October 2009. His daughter, Joanna Pushkar, says when he left, the company's